Hi, I'm Rachel McLeod. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, a mental health therapist, and emotional wellness coach. And I specialize in helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. The brain has a beautiful process for this. It is fast, effective, long lasting, powerful, beautiful, feels magical. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the brain and that process. And it's really what I rely on entirely to help people heal, overcome, and really thrive and resolve major complex issues in their life that result from years of living with unresolved anxiety, depression, and trauma. And I'm so anyway, I could go on about that and make a live just about that right there, but I've done that already. So absolutely look in my previous live history on YouTube or here on Facebook for if you would like to nerd out with me on that beautiful process. But today I want to talk about something very specific, something that's been coming up a lot for my clients, people around me, people. Um, and so that I'm titling today's video Control Freaks and the Controlling, Why You Need So Much Control. And that's what we're going to dive into. And please hear me. You are very welcome here. I think we use derogatory terms for people that need more control. But I want to take you under the hood into the brain and show you what is going on, really in hopes of reducing some of the stigmatism around this. And the negative notions and really bring in more compassion, healing, and help you know what to do with this because this is a very specific thing. And I want to set this premise up is that there is a spectrum of a need for control, and we can be anywhere on the spectrum. We can be, I need it, I have to have control. And we can be like, I don't need control at all. I'm just going with the flow. And those would be the extreme areas, ends, and then we have everything in between. Healthy brain function looks like you can pick a spot, you can do any of the spots well, and you're accurate with reality and the needs to control or not control. When you're having a conversation with a loved one in an intimate space and you're being controlling there, maybe that's not the best fit. Maybe you're over here in extreme, I need control. Maybe that's not the best fit for that time. Maybe you're in a whitewater raft with children and you need to have extreme control. Like that's a little bit more appropriate, right? It's when we get stuck in extremes or in places where we are have to be and we can't flex and flow. We can't adapt to the situations around us, and we're using that one spot, that one tool of control for all the things. When we really need to be adaptive and changing out tools, right? If you were to build a house with only a hammer, it wouldn't be very attractive. But if you have a saw and a paintbrush and all these different tools, you're going to be more accurate. And if you can use those tools accurately at the right time, in the right space, and you're going to build something very beautiful. And our life is the same way. If we only use one tool, and we'll do this if we've got unresolved trauma, if our processor is not processing our brain's natural process for processing and upgrading and understanding and being adaptive and flexible. If that's not working properly, you're going to see us just use the one tool. And then we're like, why were you so controlling? I don't know. So it's not, so we want a lot of flexibility and we want to be responding accurately to the world. And so those are some things that we'll see. And the other thing is that we are on a growth process here as humans. We're growing throughout our whole life. Hopefully we're growing. And so what you'll see different areas of our life and areas where we've mastered a very fluid, adaptive, flexible ability of control, a lot of mastery. And we'll have other areas in our life where we have no mastery and we might be over controlling, right? And so this would be healthy and normal. We want areas in our life where we are thriving and we're doing awesome, and want areas where we're sucking, right? And we're just not doing very well, and we have growth to do there. That means we're really trusting life. We're really taking risks. We're entering into areas where we're not very skilled yet. And that can be really wonderful. If we need a lot of control, we're not going to create and open up areas where we're not very good at something, right? I don't know. I don't know if I can control the outcome here, so I'm not going to try anything new, right? I'm not going to go for growth. I need stability. I need control. I don't need growth. I need control. And so that situation is so we so it can be a really great sign if we've got all of these areas here and we've got that spectrum in our own life. If we need that to be only perfect, we're going to have a very narrow spectrum of what we're doing, what we're able to do, what we can take the risk to do, and our health and wellness. And so, and the kinds of people we can allow in our life. So, this need for control can be really limiting. It can be really, we can really be keeping out experiences that would be phenomenal for us. And we can be kind of choking out experiences and relationships that would be good for us, but our need for control is not accurate or adaptive. It's not fitting. And so it's really causing harm in our relationships, maybe with our children, our loved ones, at work, our coworkers, maybe your employees. People are like, they're such a control freak. And so that doesn't create that harmony and synergy. It creates more separation, distance, and endings. And this is a really important thing we want to be able to see, and we want to be able to see somebody's brain come into this and need control and then grow out of it and really want more synergy and teamwork and flexibility and adaptability. So that would be really great. And when people have histories of this, well, they're more likely to end up in situations that are new and try out new things and start the process over again. To maybe they're going to be controlling right then. When I learned salsa, I was just really controlling. You saw me very rigidly practicing the steps. It was something new, and I was going through my process of learning this where I was very controlled. And people are like, "Move your hips." No, I need to walk my feet right. I'm doing it my way anyway. And then to growing and being more flexible and adaptive and not needing so much control, right? This we want this pattern to be a good pattern. We want it to we want to really be able to practice that. This is the pattern we want to teach our kids. That we might have areas here, but we can grow into more mastery where we can let go of control. We can be more adaptive, more flexible, more creative with the process. So and these are, let me talk about 4 reasons why this is not happening and why we're stuck with control. One of the biggest reasons is we have unresolved trauma. We've had events in our life that were overwhelming to our ability to cope, our strategies, the support we had at the time, and our brain is it just could not process it, and so it kicked it out of the process, the healing process, and it just is still in the body, stored very maladaptively, not in a good way. Um, when those things happen, we tend to be afraid of those events. Our nervous system didn't get to look at it fully, but all it knows is it's bad. And so we need that not to happen again. And so we'll be very controlling as a result of that unresolved trauma. When that trauma gets processed, and we can get that through the brain's natural healing process and trauma resolution process, we're going to see our brain understand it. We're going to see it be accurate with it, not make big, grandiose things. This isn't safe. We're going to be like, no, this specific thing right here is not safe. This over here, it looks like it, but it's not the same thing. It is safe. We want it to be able to be accurate and flexible with safety, and it will do that naturally as the trauma is getting processed. We'll start to see the brain start to be like, oh, I get it. Or, oh, oh, I've got this associated with unsafe. Wait, hold up. I'm going to reassociate that. Now that's with safe. This over here is still unsafe. But we're going to watch it rewire, and we're going to become more comfortable with that thing that occurred happening in the world and not need to control it, but be able to be adaptive and flexible and really keep it out accurately using really a whole brain mind body system working together as opposed to a limbic system response that isn't accurate. So I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense to anybody but me. So I want to say that again. Um, so when trauma gets processed, the whole brain really understands it and really knows when we're in danger and when we're not in danger, as opposed to stuff that's unprocessed will stay in hypervigilance. And that hypervigilance can really lead to control. It will really lead to, on the outside, us looking like we have to control it. So if you are somebody who's controlling things or somebody who's a control freak, there might be some unresolved trauma in your past that is making you behave like this. If you're watching somebody who's controlling, you might actually be watching them go through their inner world is experiencing unresolved trauma. And so it really, that controlling behavior is not really about you, it's about what they've experienced in their past. And so we can clear this up pretty simply by finding whatever that trauma is and getting it processed. That's a lot of the tools and strategies I have and use. I mean, I'm pretty quick at getting the brain to pull up the exact memory, in like the needle in the haystack of the brain wants those resolved. And so there are ways you can get it to tell you exactly what it is. This is something I teach people how to do in my online program, and something that I'm very skilled at doing. And so this process does not have to take long. Like, oh my gosh, all the things happened. How do I get to the bottom of it? That doesn't have to be so confusing. There is a process for that that is relatively fast. At relatively being, we can hold traumas, unresolved traumas for decades, and it can take us a session, 3 sessions, a month, 2 months to really resolve this type of issue and resolve the traumatic memories at the bottom of the controlling behaviors. And so that's one of the reasons. Another one of the reasons is in childhood needing to stabilize adults. So if you were a child and you were experiencing parents with mental illness, addiction, physical illness, um, any of those challenges, emotional immaturity, those sorts of things, you would have learned that you do better if you stabilize and control the adults in your life, and then your needs are met better. You're able to stay safe. You're able to keep your life running more smoothly, and so you learn how to control people. That means in childhood you learned a lot about people from a very small number of people, a small sample size that your brain doesn't get fully processed, and it assumes everyone is like this. So your brain is overgeneralizing that all people need to be controlled, all people should be controlled. Your job in the world is to stabilize others. You need to control others. And so as this gets processed, brains become accurate, and they realize, oh, I don't need to control them. Oh, I don't need to control that one. Oh, there's other beliefs about people. People are strong and capable. Oh, there's mental health people. There's people here with mental health. And so it becomes accurate, and it starts to expand the repertoire, expand the tool set here. So I have an itch on my face. I have to itch that. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, but as processing is occurring, as the brain's natural process for taking these experiences and reviewing, reflecting, sorting, understanding, seeing things from multiple perspectives is occurring, it will naturally sort it out for us and get accurate and get flexible and adaptive and retool us. And like, oh, I need new strategies. Your brain, yes, brain, you're right. Go get us some new strategies. Usually it will tell us to go get new strategies. You'll see us Googling, what else do you do with controlling? When you don't stop controlling people, how do you get along, right? Or you're watching people, and your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that shows you what's important, is now showing you new things. It's showing you people respecting others, listening to others, cooperating, things like that. And your mirror neurons are like, ooh, interesting. And now you're practicing this. So we just need your brain to get the memo on some of these things. And that's really why we have strategies of taking these experiences and helping your brain process them, again, reprocess them, and really sorting itself out. That's the most important piece here, is that we can tell your brain, hey, stop being controlling. But that doesn't mean your brain has gone through its process for resolving being over controlling. Right? And we want to walk your brain through its process of rewiring, sorting itself out, becoming accurate. And that process is very fast when it's moving. This is a very rewarding thing to be working with, believe that or not. So Another point in here, this one is a combination of why you're controlling. This is a combination of the previous two, but I think it's really important to speak to. And this one is that your sense of safety is dependent on external factors. So you have an external sense of safety and external sources for safety, as opposed to having internal safety. You have your safety is external. I don't feel like I'm saying that in a satisfying way, but I think that's the best way to say it, is your safety is external. The outside world is how your brain has learned to create safety for you. So you need the outside world to look in a very specific way in order for your brain to run. Okay, now we can do the safety things. Okay, now we feel safe, and you'll notice that you'll actually feel safe in your body when these things are lined up like this. And so that is a very different construct than having internal safety, and we want to bring the safety internal. And so we want you to be able to feel safe in a variety of external situations, so that safety is yours. You can recreate it over and over again. Your brain can, and we want to walk it through the process for doing that. This is one of the end products of my program that I developed, and is that we rebuild or build for the first time that sense of safety from the internal space, from your inner world. Your inner world is generating safety. It can do that. All this external stuff is really the spots where the brain hasn't been able to create the safety from the inner world, and so we want to walk it through that now. That's a lot of the stuff that it's a little bit different than wound healing and traumatic event healing. It's actually part of the creation process. We want to help the mind body system create this, rewire for this, build the neural network for internal sense of safety and the internal creation of that sense of safety. So that's hugely powerful. And so as you're seeing yourself being controlling, you can really start to reflect and look inside and see, well, why do I need this to feel safe? I asked a client the other day if she could feel safe without knowing her boyfriend's thoughts on a specific topic. She said, no, absolutely not. And I think that's a great, honest response. That's right where her brain is, right? And it's true that she could be safe and not know his thoughts, right? Because there's going to be situations where we don't know everyone's thoughts, as opposed to needing to look, I need to see every single thought. I need to be able to control the thoughts. I need to be able to control his thoughts so that I can be safe. And that sense of uncertainty, her brain has a hard time creating safety with uncertainty, right? Many of ours does. And in any situation, all of ours would. In some situation that would be specific to us, all of our brain would have difficulty creating safety in that space. And so what we do is we help her brain walk through that process of building safety in this space now, even while the externals are not exactly as we want them lined up, right? I can be safe now, even though I don't know all of their thoughts. And so it's not about that safety thought. That thought and saying it out loud does not create the internal shifts, but we can, because that doesn't mean the limbic system, the survival system, will allow that shift to take place, and the subconscious mind and the body won't get to reorganize. They won't get the support they need from the rest of the mind body system to reorganize. And so we walk the brain through its process of, hey, I don't have safety here. Let's get the whole brain working on it and then send it back. And there's strategies we can do to influence the limbic system or the survival system in the brain to let that happen, and let that reorganization take place, and to guide that reorganization. And so these are great opportunities to build that internal sense of safety. That is a game changer in any area of our life. If we're stuck with in creating that internal sense of safety, whether you've been in the healing game forever or you're new here, it's transformational. Every time you get one little bit more of internal security built, your brain gets practice building that, and then you basically can point and say, hey, what about this one over here? Oh yeah, let's build it over here. We'll use the same way we built it here over there. Sometimes it's like, I can't build it here. And so you will follow a process for helping the brain to build build it over there. And I outline those processes and those steps in my program, Inner World Transformation. And so, and you can learn them. So I'm speaking to what I have done, but these things are learnable and what I'm making available, but you can learn them. And I want you to, because you're the one who's going to be with your brain. We're not going to be there when your brain's tripping, when you're in the shower thinking about how you can't tell somebody's thoughts, right? That's a great time for you to practice your own skill and your own ability to influence your brain to walk through its process for making your safety. And we want you to be able to do that as many times as your brain needs for it to be able to create the health and wellness that you need for it to be able to show up in your life. The fourth reason why you might be controlling is that it's a learned behavior. You watched people do it. You had parents that controlled you. You had parents that controlled their relationships, other people. You've had partners control you. You've had teachers. You've just experienced it and you've learned it and you've picked it up. And so this is a space where we can walk your brain through letting that go. That's actually a combination of the other three as well. So it can be easy to resolve, and sometimes that can be really complex as well, depending on how frequent, how deep, how those caregivers were the person who was controlling their amount of influence in your life. And so, but it is worthwhile to really resolve that issue, regardless of how complex it is, to stick with that and resolve it, because it doesn't take a long time and it is transformational in your life, to your relationships, because we really want there's so much more beautiful things beyond control, like synergy and teamwork and collaboration and cooperation and choice and giving and interdependence. And control really sets us up for codependent relationships. I need to control you or else I'm going to freak out. Scarcity, lack-mindedness, that results in emotional, mental, and sometimes financial poverty. And so we really don't want to be on those tracks. And relational poverty, social poverty is really down that path. We want to be on abundance. There's an abundance of safety here. My brain can build safety and security whenever it wants to, however it needs to, on and on. And so this is a worthwhile place to really work, whether you're overall really controlling because you've got so much unresolved anxiety, depression, trauma, and you just don't have enough wiggle room. You need everything to be still so that you can feel safe and stay stable. Or if it's just showing up in one area of your life. Either way, however it goes, brains have a process for making safety and for making internal safety, even though things around us don't feel safe or aren't our usual norm, or we have memory banks that tell us it's time to control everything. We really can have something different here. And so I want to say at this point that I teach 3 strategies for free in a program that I developed. These are the same interventions I teach my therapy clients and my coaching clients. They're interventions for inner world transformation, and they work with that limbic system, part of the brain, very quickly to get it to influence it to allow healing to happen. I invite you to try those out. These can really you can see massive results so quickly in just needing to control less, feeling more secure internally. You can feel a shift right away. People are writing me email responses. Oh my gosh, I love this. I'm feeling a shift. And because it's working with that part of the brain to let healing happen, to let your brain actually complete its process for under resolving trauma, resolving anxiety and depression and those sorts of symptoms, and also amplifying brain function, amplifying processing, because that's the one part of the brain that will shut it down. So we want that part to leave it let it run at optimal speed. Thank you very much, and capacity. And so we really talk to that part of the brain in its native language. And so these interventions are weird because they're not for your prefrontal cortex. They're not talking or thinking strategies. They're for a different part of the brain that doesn't use words, it doesn't use talking. And so that's why these ones are so effective, because we're really isolating that work right there, and getting the brain to complete its process. So, and then if you find one of those that work and you want to do deeper work with me, either to resolve a disorder, to resolve this controlling challenge you've got in your life, upgrade your world, build your emotional intelligence. That's exactly what happens in my program, Inner World Transformation. I have an 8-part process, a 4-phase process that walks people through this work. And it really is very personalized. I provide structure, exercises for like brain push-ups. And then your brain really does the work of customizing that to you because of how I've set up everything. And so you can start working on your issues, your needs, the issues, the symptoms you want resolved. And this program really guides you through that process, to start in the beginning and to work your way through to a completed mental health project. Whether that's just growing your emotional intelligence, your emotional IQ, or healing or resolving trauma, building things like internal sense of safety. That's exactly what this program is for, building confidence. Really, it's helping the brain rebuild things. And so your job is to identify what those are, and I walk you through that as well. Identify what you want, put it in this program, and then do the exercises for it. And then you get to see the results. They're quantifiable, they last, they're phenomenal. People notice, they comment, they're like, oh my gosh, you seem so much more calm, so much more in control. Interesting enough, so much more grounded, so much less chaotic. Those are things that occur as your brain can finally do its work of building your health and wellness to its highest levels, and more and more and more, and on a growth spectrum. So okay, so anyway, I'm done with that. I encourage you to enroll. It is a really phenomenal experience, and a really personalized process. And so, yeah. Okay, so Allison Lucas says, this is a super helpful topic. I came from a really controlling family, but they projected that control freak identity onto me, which drove me to constantly being in relationships with controlling people to subconsciously prove that I wasn't controlling others. Absolutely. So glad your program helped me unprogram all of that projected identity from healthy boundaries. Yes, so good. Allison, recently I had her on to do a testimonial, and so she shared about her experience in my program, and you can watch that on YouTube or here on Facebook. She just shared about her life and why she chose my program, what it helped her to do, and I got to geek out on that testimonial because I had never seen her face to face before, and I was just watching her brain function and how it was sorting out. Like, I love that stuff. So anyway, this is exactly what my program is designed to do. And there's so many things that we do. That projection of the control freak and subconsciously needing to work that out and prove that we didn't do it is absolutely a real thing. And gosh, a high level thing, because it's about projection. I don't even know how to tackle that in a live. But this in my program, I walk people through the process of being able to see projections in other people when other people are projecting. And so I know how to help people see it and learn how to navigate it and the strategies for it. But ooh, to tackle that subject in just a conversation, it's beyond me at this point. So maybe I'll figure that out, and I'm going to do a live about that one day. But anyway, wonderful connecting with you all. Great to see you here, Allison. Thank you for your comments and your testimonial. Gosh, that was awesome and fun. All right, I'll see you all later. Take care.